People are not eating for nutritional benefit. People are eating to get high. You know, the shit that people are eating, it's not food, it's drugs. And people are not chasing after the nutrients. They're not chasing after zinc or fiber or hydration or vitamin C or vitamin K or vitamin B or D or A. They're chasing after the high that they get when they eat a particular thing. You know, like, think about this. In the streets, we call drugs dope. D-O-P-E. What is the name of the pleasure chemical that's released by our brain? Dopamine. When people eat, they're really eating to get high. That's why they don't care about what's in it. That's why they don't read ingredient labels. That's why they'll go to a trap and let somebody make them something to eat without even seeing what they look like, without even knowing who they are, without even seeing what they're doing, without even seeing their meal be prepared. Like, when you're a dope addict, when you're a dopamine addict, all common sense just flies out the window. You just do a lot of stupid shit. Like, drug addicts do a lot of stupid shit because the drug comes first. The dopamine comes first. Nothing takes precedent over the dopamine. And you know, there's different levels. The level of dopamine addiction that most people are on, you know, they could still go to work and function. You know, they're not selling their kids or selling their cars or, you know, losing their families and all these different things. They're still addicted to dopamine. And so they're still destroying their lives. Like, they're still making themselves sicker every time they eat and drink. There's still disease developing in their bodies, and they're feeding and nurturing it every time they eat. They're still gambling with their health and with their life every time they eat. They still don't give a fuck about what they're putting in their bodies as long as they get that dopamine hit, as long as they feel better. They're addicted to the dopamine, just like the crack addict, just like the heroin addict, just like the meth addict. It's just different levels. The person addicted to crack is addicted to higher dosages of dopamine than the person that drinks coffee, but they're both addicted to the dopamine. They're both dopamine addicts. They're both consuming what they're consuming for the high. They're not thinking about the nutritional benefits of what they're putting in their bodies. When you try to go on a fruit reset and you're struggling, you're craving the dopamine. Fruits give you certain levels of dopamine too, but they're small compared to what you're used to. You need a bigger hit. That's why you have cravings. That's why you're tempted. That's why you're thinking about the shit. The little hit you get of dopamine off of the fruits is nothing compared to the hits of dopamine that you were getting off of the coffee, off of the sugar, off of the breads, off of the fats, off of the dairy. Salt triggers the release of dopamine. Everything in the satanic American diet triggers the release of dopamine, and so you get used to those dosages. So you want to transition to eating just food, nothing else, just food, just fruit. A big part of the transition is weaning yourself off of so much dopamine and getting used to much smaller hits of dopamine throughout the day. Because everything in the satanic American diet is designed to give you large hits of dopamine. So every time you consume something, whether you eat, whether you drink, you're getting larger than normal hits of dopamine than you would get if you were consuming food. So that's the adjustment that has to be made. So, you know, this is my 10th day of eating apples. And there's certain fruits that I eat, like nuts. It's the fatty fruits that they give me larger hits of dopamine than what I'm receiving now eating just apples. A big part of this journey is dealing with that because my body is not used to these lower levels of dopamine and it wants more. The dopamine hit from apples is minimal. It's insignificant. But, you know, I don't know the actual levels, like how to measure them, but I know that when I eat certain things like nuts, like avocados, And if I pair them with dates, if I mix a sweet with a fat, it's very enjoyable. It's a larger dosage of dopamine. Now that doesn't compare to anything in a satanic American diet, but it's still, I'm getting a dopamine hit from the natural fructose and I'm getting a dopamine hit from the natural fats. On these apples, there are no fats. There's just the fructose. So that's a dopamine reduction. And so that's what I've been experiencing for these past 10 days since I've been on this. And, it's just really interesting. But I just wanted to share that with y'all. So, you go on a fruit diet, not a fruit diet, but a fruit reset. That's what I call it. Because when you go on just fruits from the satanic American diet, that's what you're doing. You're resetting the body. It's like a reboot, which is another word I like. When you go on a fruit reboot, that's what you're going to deal with. You're not hungry because you've been fucking eating. You could easily go a whole day, a couple days without eating and be fine. But your stomach is going to be growling and grumbling and you're going to feel discomfort in the gut. And that's your gut's way of saying, hey, fuck you doing? Where's my hit? I need more dopamine. And everything the gut will try to get you to eat is going to be something that will trigger and cause the release of higher levels of dopamine than you're currently getting eating fruit. Ultimately, it's the dopamine hit that we're after when we're eating the satanic American diet and when we're struggling to eat fruit or food. It's the dopamine hit that we're after. We're eating to get high. It's the high that we're after. People are not eating for nutrition. They're eating for dopamine. And there's levels, but for most people, they're so consumed with the dopamine that they don't give a fuck about their health. They don't give a fuck what they eat as long as they get that right amount of dopamine. They're dope addicts, dopamine addicts. So it's good to do a reset, a reboot. It's good to do it regularly, I would say, and just let your gut know who's in control. So that's all. I just wanted to share that with y'all because that was just a new revelation that I received, and I just thought it was really dope, pun intended. To make that connection between dope and dopamine, and I've been aware of that connection for a long time, but I didn't know how to communicate it. And today, it was like the words were given to me, like it was clear to me how to communicate it. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. And on that note, I'm out of here. I'll talk to y'all soon.